Says I'm live. The topic of this video I wanted to make was to cover just being a parent to kids who are not yours biologically, so to speak. And it was because I had just received a friend request from a buddy's dad on Facebook. And it started just making me think about like the people in my life who have served as like father figures for me. There's probably about eight. I didn't stop to really think about it today, but I've talked about them during at my wedding before, and then on various like Father's Day posts and whatnot on Facebook. But wanted to make that video because we got a bunch of children in this world, and this is irrespective of pro-choice or pro-life. Has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with the fact that we have a lot of kids in this world who are orphans. We have a lot of kids in this world who come from two-parent households. We have a lot of kids that come from single-parent households. We have a lot of kids that may be orphans, but they live with uncles or aunts, or the grandmas or grandpas are raising them, or family friends are helping raise them. We just have a bunch of different circumstances out there that I wanted to touch base on, and it was just the power of people understanding that like it or not, we have a responsibility to help the children in the world. We may not always agree with whether the responsibility is fair or not, that sometimes we feel like we've been burdened with having to help raise kids that are not ours biologically. And I just have so many examples in my life of people that I know of that are helping raise kids that they didn't give birth to. They're doing a fantastic job. It doesn't mean they don't struggle. It doesn't mean they don't have a hard time. It doesn't mean that at times they wish they didn't have to, or that they did. I know for myself that my dad passed away in 2008. I loved my dad, still do. But just wonderful guy. Him and my mom divorced when I was 6 years old. They kept a cordial relationship. They were always there to support me. I was very fortunate to have that in my life. But in addition to my father, there are other men in my life and continue to be this day father figures. And it's because I look at, I just want people to understand that the example you set, people watch you, and you don't know. I mean, I started thinking about, I met my best friend when I was 10. And at that moment, his dad probably didn't know that he was becoming a father figure in my life when, you're starting to come over and hang out with his son. And so I'm looking at like the possibility of when my son starts having more friends come over, or my daughter starts having friends come over, that my wife and I might have to fulfill roles in their lives as sort of parents. It doesn't mean that you have to watch them or feed them or do any of that. It could just be that you set the example for them. I have many people in my life that set the example. Like I said, my parents divorced. That's nothing against them. It just didn't work out at their time in their life that they had to separate. But I have had a lot of couples with strong marriages that I can look to and see kind of how they are with each other. And all of them argue, they bicker, they get irritated with each other, but they work through it, and they provide that example for me and what I see. And so I just wanted to encourage people that whether you have children, whether you don't have children, whether you've lost children, which would be the most devastating thing for me. And my heart goes out to you if you have lost children in your life. But that it's one of those things that we have an obligation as adults to help at least bring along and encourage and uplift and maybe even full-time parent kids who are not ours, because they're depending on someone too. And you have some really strong kids that can take care of themselves, so to speak, but they need you in their life. And I think if anything were to happen to me and my wife, that we have so much love and support in our lives that our children, this one right here, would have so many people looking out for her. And I'm grateful for that. Some kids don't have that though. And so I would suggest that you look in your life, if you want to make an impact somewhere. Obviously it's easier to talk about it than actually go out and do it. But maybe find someone that needs you to help them. If it's not on a full-time basis, maybe every opportunity you get when you see a kid waving to you in the supermarket, or you see them, having a hard time struggling, maybe you're a teacher and you see them struggle, that you uplift them and encourage them as best you can. just because the kids that we need, like, there's so many people that even if I never told them, that I've watched them interact and I've watched how they've done things and I've watched how they've treated me, and it's made a profound effect on my psychological side of life, as well as my heart and my actions and what I think and what I strive to do for other people to pay it forward. And I just wanted to go out there, if you're anybody, to look for the kids in your life, whether directly or indirectly, that you can help them in any ways that you can, because they're living in a world that cares about them, but sometimes they just don't know it unless you actually say it, So just wanted to shoot that message out there. I was thinking about that while I was doing some dishes. Love you guys. Have a good day. And I'll see you soon. She always says bye. Look at that. Always when it says end stream and then I got to scroll up and click this end button before it actually ends, there's always that. If I don't say anything, then it's kind of awkward. It's like 4 seconds of me looking at the screen without saying anything. Have a good day.
Bye.